Part 5. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Ju Yi. Chapter 41. You're talking nonsense, Cheng Jinjiao threw her hand away and said angrily, don't slander Yuxian. Yuxian is definitely not such a person. He doesn't believe it. He would never believe what Ding Nana said. Yuxian is not that kind of person. Yuxian is so kind and cute, how could she be the kind of person Ding Nana said? It must be Nana Ding who is talking nonsense. She is spreading rumors. No. He wanted to ask Yuxian himself. He wanted to hear Yuxian say it himself. Ding Nana was also very angry and said, I'm not talking nonsense. Everything I said is true. Wei Yuxian is just pregnant. She was vomiting in the toilet every day some time ago. What could it be if she wasn't pregnant? Also, on the day she moved her luggage, I saw the old man driving up to pick her up. I can't be wrong. Cheng Jinjiao still didn't believe it. He thought she was talking nonsense and said, I don't believe what you said. You are slandering Yuxian. After saying that, he didn't want to hear Ding Nana's voice again, so he ran away in big strides. He wanted to ask Yuxian himself. He believed what Yuxian said. Ding Nana looked at the people running away and stamped her feet several times in anger. He still didn't believe what she said. Just believe what that bitch says. Damn, damn, damn. Wei Yuxian, you bitch. He also said that he did not seduce Cheng Jinjiao. Cheng Jinjiao's soul has been seduced by you. Ding Nana cursed Wei Yuxian viciously in her heart and looked at the direction Cheng Jinjiao left, but he was no longer there. Wei Yuxian, you've even dropped out of school and you're still so restless. He also wanted to seduce Cheng Jinjiao. You are really good. Okay, since you're going to do this, right? Well, if you are unkind, then don't blame me, Ding Nana, for being unjust. Just wait for me, and I will definitely make you regret seducing Cheng Jinjiao. I regret coming to Kyoto University of Finance and Economics. A vicious idea grew in her heart, took root and sprouted, and grew into a towering tree. Wei Yuxian, you forced me to do this. You forced me to do this. If you want to blame it, just blame yourself. At the Fu Mansion, not long after lunchtime, at 1 o'clock, Wei Yuxian finally woke up after sleeping all morning. She had a super comfortable sleep. It's cold outside in winter, but it's so warm inside the bed that people don't want to get up, but just want to stay in the warm bed and enjoy it. But she had to get up even if she didn't want to, because her stomach was telling her the truth. She lay in bed for a while and got up a few minutes later. She was only a little cold and turned on the heater, but it wasn't much colder. She put on a light coat, went to wash up, walked out, took her mobile phone from the bedside, turned on airplane mode and walked out of the room. It took a few seconds for her phone to buffer after turning off airplane mode and reconnecting to the internet. A few seconds later, a burst of rapid message notifications came from her phone, several of which kept ringing. A message prompt also popped up at the top of the phone. She took a look and saw that they were all messages sent to her by Cheng Jinjiao. Is there something urgent you want to see her for when you send so many messages? Wei Yuxian went downstairs and clicked on WeChat to see what Cheng Jinjiao had sent to her. The first one is, Yuxian, why didn't you come to class today? Did you ask for leave because you weren't feeling well? It turned out that he was asking her why she didn't go to class. This was the case in several subsequent messages. She replied to him, Ajing, I have taken a break from school due to health reasons. I will go back to school next year. Thank you for being my friend. I hope we will meet again at school. Cheng Jinjiao over there seemed to be holding his cell phone waiting for her message, and immediately replied, Yuxian, you are finally online. I thought something had happened to you. Did you really drop out of school? Is it because of illness? Is it serious? Wei Yuxian, I'm fine, Ajing, Thank you for your concern. I can't say anything about my health, but it's nothing serious and I can go back to school in a year. In school, Cheng Jinjiao was lying on the bed, typing a few words on the keyboard with his cell phone. Are you pregnant? His fingers were hanging on the send button, not daring to press it. This question is too offensive, and what if Ding Nana is telling a lie? What would Yuxian think of him? By then, he and Yuxian probably won't even be friends. If Yuxian doesn't say it, there must be her reasons and difficulties. Since Yuxian doesn't say it, then he won't ask. What that guy Ding Nana said is absolutely nonsense. But there was a faint voice in his heart telling him, what Nana Ding said was true. He put his finger on the return key, deleted the words one by one, and changed them to, okay Yuxian, you're fine. If you have any difficulties, you can tell me and I will definitely help you. Wei Yuxian, okay, thank you Ajeng. The chat ended here. Cheng Jinjiao did not dare to ask too many questions. He was content to know that Wei Yuxian was fine at the moment. It was just that he wouldn't be able to see Yuxian for the next year, which made him a little sad. 1 year is such a long time. At the Fu mansion, Wei Yuxian settled the matter with Cheng Jinjiao, put down her phone, and sat down at the dining table. The servant brought her lunch and said, "Ma'am, please take your time." Wei Yuxian politely said thank you and enjoyed today's rich lunch. In other words, every meal she had was rich. Today's lunch still tastes very good. She has just had a full sleep and has a better appetite. The food has no peculiar smell and she eats well. It's rare not to feel nauseated, it's really great. Everything is moving towards a better life, right? Her life will get better and better. After lunch, Wei Yuxian sat for a while and then took a walk in the yard accompanied by 2 nannies. There was no sun, no rain, or snow today, so it was a good day for a walk. Pregnant women should exercise appropriately and strictly control their food intake, so that their baby and body can be healthier. Taking a walk was just for digestion. She was a little full from what she had just eaten. The 2 nannies followed her dutifully, holding water glasses and coats in their hands. If she was thirsty, they would hand her the water, and if she was cold, they would hand her her coat. Wei Yuxian was not cold, but felt a little warm after walking around. She wanted to take off her coat, but the 2 nannies stopped her, saying that the evil wind would get into her body, and told her to go back to the house and take it off again. She had no choice but to walk back with her thick clothes and take off her clothes after entering the house. She felt much more comfortable. After resting for a while, she went into Fu Xuanyi's study, found a book she wanted to read, and lay down on the comfortable tatami to read. The days are so leisurely and comfortable, and extremely pleasant. I don't know how many more beautiful days like this there will be. No one can predict what will happen in the future. Enjoy the present. Perhaps it was because she was too comfortable. She felt sleepy while reading a book and was too lazy to go back to the room, so she closed her eyes and fell asleep on the tatami. The nanny was afraid that she would catch a cold, so she covered her with a small blanket to make her sleep more comfortable. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Zhu Yi. Chapter 42. The leisurely days passed day by day, and Wei Yuxian had almost nothing to worry about. Her condition was getting better and better, and her body fat was slowly returning. Just when she thought her life would go on like this, something unexpected happened quietly. One day, a post suddenly appeared on the Kyoto University of Finance and Economics campus forum with the title, "Surprise." A classmate majoring in finance was kept by an old man and had to drop out of school because of her pregnancy. Nowadays, people are so idle and bored, holding a mobile phone every day. As soon as a post is posted, people who love to eat melon click on it. The general description in the post is, Wei Yuxian is a person who can't even afford to eat. She works part-time in school every day to make money. In order to save money on food, It also includes a picture of Wei Yuxian when she first entered campus, wearing white clothes. People are also very thin and have no nutrition. Then the next picture showed Wei Yuxian living a good life, changing into brand name clothes, holding a pineapple mobile phone in her hand, and becoming plumper. The two pictures are a very obvious contrast. The poster said that this was the life Wei Yuxian lived after being taken care of by an old man. He also said that she had someone deliver meals to her every day, and the meals she ate were all made with the best ingredients, and so on. Later, the poster also said, I saw with my own eyes that an old man came to pick up Wei Yuxian when she packed up her luggage and left school. Moreover, Wei Yuxian was pregnant. She dropped out of school this time because of her pregnancy, because she vomited in the toilet every day. It's a pity that I didn't take any photos at that time, but everything I said is true. If there are any lies, I will be struck by lightning. Furthermore, the reason why I exposed this person is that I can't bear to see her being kept by someone and still thinking about hooking up with men in school to find a new wife. So I ask all boys to keep their eyes open when looking for their other half. The article ends here. Everyone who has read it is shocked. I really didn't expect such a thing to happen in our university. I feel so good eating this huge melon. Sure enough, there are people for everyone in the world. The contrast between these two pictures is so obvious, it seems that Wei Yuxian is really being taken care of, otherwise, how could she make such a big fortune in such a short period of time? I think she is definitely being kept. What she is wearing is a limited edition model from the XX family, and the mobile phone she is using is also the latest model of the pineapple mobile phone, which is not cheap. Don't tell me, this girl is pretty good looking, no wonder she is kept by an old man. If I had a little money, I would do the same thing, ha ha ha. Are you really pregnant? God, how old is she? Why is she so disrespectful? Even if you are short of money, you can't buy it? Maybe she just loves vanity so much. Some people are afraid of poverty and can't help it when they see money. Besides, it's such a simple method, you can get money just by sleeping. I don't know this person, but I was really shocked to eat this melon. Well, when female college students fall for money, is this a loss of morality or a loss of humanity? For a little money, would you sell yourself? Yes, yes. What should she do if she has hands and feet? Do you have to be a mistress? I despise this kind of person the most. Damn, it's so disgusting. It feels like my phone is dirty when she appears in it. How could I become an alumnus with such a person? She and I are in the same major, and I have a big class with her on Monday. The thought of breathing the same air as her makes me feel unlucky. If this melon is true, then I can only say that this girl really loves vanity. Brothers, she looks really good, and she must be very exciting in bed. I just don't know if the old man can satisfy her. He. Have you never seen a woman upstairs? Are pregnant ladies so hungry? Brother, you don't understand, this kind of thing is more exciting. There were more and more comments under the post, and it became more and more popular. Soon, it was ranked first. More and more people saw this post and were shocked after reading it, criticizing Wei Yuxian's behavior. There were also some nasty comments, but most of the comments were insulting, calling her a bitch and a vain woman. Everyone did not know the truth and the whole picture, so they picked up the keyboard in their hands, thinking that they were gods criticizing mortals from above. Seeing that the post is getting more and more popular, the happiest person is undoubtedly the poster, Ding Nana. At this moment, Ding Nana was lying on the bed in the dormitory, scrolling through this post, looking at the comments that insulted Wei Yuxian one by one, feeling a sense of satisfaction in her heart. Yes, she posted this post anonymously using her Trumpet account. She had been planning this since her quarrel with Cheng Jinjiao that day. She just wants Wei Yuxian's reputation to be ruined, and she just doesn't want it to be easy for her. Who asked her to seduce Cheng Jinjiao even after she left school? She deserves all this. She deserves it. She didn't say a word wrong about what was posted in the post. Wei Yuxian is a bitch, a bitch who was kept and got pregnant by an old man. If she hadn't done these things, she, ding Nana, wouldn't be able to make up such true things. This bitch, let her seduce men. Let her seduce Chang Jinjao. Let's see if you die this time. I said, Wei Yuxian, since you are unkind, then don't blame me for being unrighteous. After 1 year, I don't think you have the dignity to go back to school. You'd better be good and let the old man take care of you. In the boys' dormitory of Kyoto University of Finance and Economics, Chang Jinjao was completing the PPT assigned by the teacher. He was going crazy looking for information. Suddenly, the roommate next to him patted him and said, Chang Jinjao, look. This is amazing. Everyone in our school. He is ranked first in the campus forum. Chang Jinjao was irritated, and he was usually not interested in such gossip. He moved his shoulders and shook off his hand, saying, Don't bother me, I'm busy. The roommate refused to give up and insisted on sharing this shocking melon with him. If you don't look, I'm telling you. In our major, there is a girl who was kept by an old man outside. Now she is pregnant and has taken a leave of absence from school. Oh my God, this girl is pretty. I saw it. All. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted anxiously by Chang Jinjao, what's this girl's name? When he heard his roommate read out those keywords, his mind immediately thought of what Nanading said a few days ago. Isn't this information exactly the same as what she told him? Seeing that he was interested, his roommate raised the phone in front of him and said, My name is Wei Yuxian. This is her photo. How beautiful is it? When did we have such a beautiful woman in our major? Why didn't I know about it? Chang Jinjao, you know. When Chang Jinjao saw the person in the photo, his heart dropped. He grabbed his roommate's phone and read this post from the beginning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Ju Yi. Chapter 43. Every sentence said in it is disparaging to Wei Yuxian, and the logic is smooth and there is no problem, just like the truth. Chang Jinjao's first reaction was impossible. Yuxian is definitely not the kind of person mentioned in the post. He is not the kind of vain person mentioned in the comment section. They don't know Yuxian at all, they just read this unfounded post and came to this conclusion. How could they deserve to say such things? Do they understand Yuxian? Have they seen Yuxian? Do they know what kind of person Yuxian is? No, they don't understand. They haven't seen it. They do not know. They don't know anything, they just bang the keyboard in their hands and wantonly belittle and insult others. The roommate on the side thought he was really interested and said, You just said you wouldn't watch it, why are you rushing to watch it now? Sure enough, no one can refuse to eat melon and watch the fun, we are the most active no. Chang Jinjao couldn't hear what his roommate was saying. He returned the phone to him with a sullen face and said, Send this post to me now. Looking at his angry look, his roommate finally noticed something was wrong and said, What's wrong? Do you know Wei Yuxian? As he said that, he forwarded the post to him. Chang Jinjao looked at his roommate and said, Wei Yuxian is not that kind of person, she is a good girl. But his roommate didn't really believe what he said. He believed what he said in the post even more, because there was nothing wrong with what was said in the post, and there were pictures and truth, and the evidence was conclusive. He said, Chang Jinjao, are you being deceived by this woman? She doesn't look like a good person to me, and the post said she is a scheming woman who is best at seducing men. Chang Jinjao suppressed his anger and asked, Do you know her? Have you met her? Do you know what kind of person she is? The roommate shook his head and became a little angry, saying, Why are you shouting at me? Maybe you like her and you are shouting so loudly. Cheng Jinjiao did not deny it and said directly, yes, I like her. I know what kind of person she is. She is definitely not who she said in the post. The roommate was even more shocked and said, Cheng Jinjiao, you couldn't have been deceived by her, right? The post said that this woman is very scheming, and you have never been in love, so you can't really be deceived, right? Cheng Jinjiao, impossible. Yuxian is a good person. This post is all a lie. Roommate, how can you prove that this post is a rumor? Why would the poster spread rumors? Didn't Wei Yuxian drop out of school? Cheng Jinjiao no longer wanted to answer his questions. It was estimated that no one in the school except himself would believe that Yuxian was not such a person. Hateful. What is the purpose of posting this post? Who posted this? Why did he target Yuxian? A figure emerged in Cheng Jinjiao's mind, Ding Nana, she was probably the person who posted this post. He had heard these words from Ding Nana's mouth a few days ago. Cheng Jinjiao would not believe it if he said it had nothing to do with her. But aren't Ding Nana and Yuxian roommates? Why is she targeting Yuxian? How did Yuxian get in her way? Cheng Jinjiao never thought that he would be the trigger for Ding Nana to post this post. Because Ding Nana likes him, but he likes Wei Yuxian, and Ding Nana thinks that Wei Yuxian seduced him, so this post was born. Jealousy can blind one's eyes. Cheng Jinjiao couldn't wait to rush to Ding Nana right now and ask her fiercely if she had posted the post. If she had posted it, why would she have posted it? Why belittle Wei Yuxian? But he didn't know where Ding Nana was at the moment, and he didn't have her contact information, so he didn't know where to find someone. What's more, just relying on himself to speak to Yuxian is tantamount to trying to shake a tree and overestimating his own capabilities. There are so many people scolding Yuxian, and the whole comment area is full of them. If he says that Yuxian is not such a person, he will definitely be bullied by netizens. So, what to do? By the way, does Yuxian know the existence of this post? She has dropped out of school, so she definitely doesn't pay attention to school affairs. Even if she is in school, she probably won't visit the school forum. After all, Yuxian is a person who loves learning very much. She spends all her time studying, so how can she be in the mood to read these things? Then, should he forward this post to Yuxian? Yuxian is the person involved, she should have the right to know. She can't be kept in the dark. Maybe Yuxian has some solution. So Cheng Jinjiao forwarded this post to Wei Yuxian. Fu Mansion. Wei Yuxian had just had lunch at this time, and originally wanted to read for a while to clear up the food, but she felt sleepy just after eating. She couldn't stand it anymore, so she had to go to her room to sleep. It's so distressing, I always feel sleepy out of control, the kind that can make me sleepy anytime and anywhere. But there was nothing else to do except sleep. Fortunately, she has nothing to be busy with now. She can do whatever she wants every day without anyone restricting her. Therefore, when Cheng Jinjiao sent her a message, she was sleeping, her phone was on airplane mode, and she couldn't receive any messages. About an hour later, Wei Yuxian woke up, sat up from the bed in a daze, leaned on the bed, pulled the quilt up and covered her, unwilling to get out of bed. She picked up her phone and checked the time. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon and she turned off the airplane mode. About 2 seconds later, Cheng Jinjiao's message popped up. She was curious about why Cheng Jinjiao was looking for her again. When she clicked on it, she saw a post with such a simple and clear title. Suddenly, she felt a bad premonition in her heart. The title is written as if she is the protagonist in it. Wei Yuxian was immediately frightened and woke up. She clicked in with trembling fingers, her heart beating rapidly, praying that the protagonist inside was not her. But her prayers had no effect after all. The protagonist in it was her, Wei Yuxian, and no one else. The moment she saw her name, Wei Yuxian's heart almost stopped beating. She took a breath and was afraid to look at the content below, because she knew that the content below must be even uglier than the one above. The part she just read was about her being poor, so the next part should be a comparison. Her fingers were trembling even more than before, and finally she couldn't help but slide down and read the content below. The room was very quiet, with no movement at all. Wei Yuxian was almost out of breath. The heating in the room was clearly turned on, but Wei Yuxian felt as if she was in a cold abyss at this moment. There is no place in the body that is not cold. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Zhu Yi. Chapter 44. The post was not very long, and she read it in less than 2 minutes. It was just a few hundred words, but it stabbed countless knives in her heart. She didn't need to think about it, but she knew who posted this post. Who else could it be besides Ding Nana? Her only rival in school is Ding Nana. But why would she do this? Why expose these things? Half of what was said in the post was true, and half was false. Nana Ding made it up. But that half of it was true, and it made her very flustered. Her hands were trembling, and her phone fell to the quilt. Looking up, her face was already covered with tears. She covered her face with her hands and cried in a low voice. Her restrained and suppressed sobs were so heart-wrenching. Not only her hands were shaking, but her whole body was shaking. Why? Why is this happening? She had already suspended school and left school. Why did Ding Nana still refuse to let her go? Do this to her again? Where did she provoke Ding Nana? Why did she target herself from the beginning? Is it because she is poor? Just because she doesn't have money to eat, buy luxuries, and can't fit into their world, will she be treated like this? Does Ding Nana have any conscience? Wouldn't her conscience hurt when she said such words? Wei Yuxian changed from sitting and crying to lying down, completely wrapping herself in the quilt, because she felt so cold. Her body was cold, and her heart was even colder. Being in the small space of the quilt gave her some sense of security, and her crying voice was slightly louder, but she was still very restrained and did not dare to cry loudly or let the servants outside hear her. She thought that she would be able to live a more relaxed life in the coming days, that the stress would gradually disappear, and that the baby would become healthier and healthier, but it had only been a few days. This happened again. This post has been known to almost everyone in the school. In the comment area, apart from those who scolded her, there was no one who could speak for her. This was the most chilling thing for her. Yes, she was pregnant, and it was because of her pregnancy that she dropped out of school, but she had no choice but to do so. If the pregnancy reaction was not too serious, how could she drop out of school? There are also posts saying that she is kept by an old man, that she loves vanity, that she seduces men, etc. These are all nonsense. She, Wei Yuxian, has never seduced anyone. That night with Fu Xuanyi was also a fair and consensual transaction. There is no such thing as seduction. As for vanity, there is no such thing. Although Wei Yuxian is poor, she is also ambitious. Which of these clothes and luxurious things on her body would she be willing to buy? No, there is nothing she wants to buy. Then there is the matter of foster care. Now she is just raising a baby in the Fu mansion. It was Fu Xuanyi who forcefully asked her to live in, not her insistence. Fu Xuanyi didn't give her any maintenance money, and she never touched a penny on that bank card. She didn't know how long she had been crying, but Wei Yuxian's face was numb from crying, and her own tears were all on the pillow. Even though he was covered with a quilt, he couldn't feel the warmth. Even though he was in a well-heated environment, he was still sweating all over his body. Faced with this post, she had no choice. Even if she posted it herself to clarify, no one would believe what she said. They would only believe what they believed. The only way to solve this matter is to ask Ding Nana to post a clarifying post, so that netizens can believe that she is not such a person. But considering Nana Ding's personality, would she post such a post? She doesn't know how. She wants others to scold her more and more harshly. After all, in her eyes, she, Wei Yuxian, is trash, a clown who will never be on the stage. After crying enough, Wei Yuxian hid under the quilt with a heavy heart and sent a message to Cheng Jinjiao, saying, "Thank you for letting me know about this." If it weren't for Cheng Jinjiao, she would still be kept in the dark and not know how she was scolded in school. When she goes to school next year, how will others see her? No matter what, she wanted to thank Cheng Jinjiao. Cheng Jinjiao immediately replied to her message, "Yuxian, how do you plan to handle this matter? Do you know who posted this? I have a suspicious candidate in mind." Wei Yuxian sniffed, blinked her uncomfortable eyes a few times, and replied, "I haven't figured out how to deal with it yet. I have a rough idea of who posted it, but I have no proof." In other words, she had no solution at all and could only let it develop wantonly. "Cheng Jinjiao, the person I suspect is Ding Nana, although I don't know why she posted such a post. It is most likely her who posted it." Just as she thought. But why would Cheng Jinjiao doubt Ding Nana? She remembered that there was no connection between them. Although Ding Nana has always liked Cheng Jinjiao, she has not confessed to Cheng Jinjiao, nor has she interacted with Cheng Jinjiao. She just likes him silently, and she doesn't know what she is waiting for. Could it be that something happened between them that she didn't know about while she was away from school? At this moment, Wei Yuxian was not in the mood to think about this. She didn't want to think of Ding Nana, which would make her feel sick. She replied to Cheng Jinjiao with the word and nothing else. "Cheng Jinjiao, Yuxian, if you need me for anything, you must tell me. I will definitely help you if I can." Wei Yuxian, "Okay, thank you." Putting down her phone, Wei Yuxian turned over and was lying down, exposing her head from the quilt and breathing in the air outside. She thought to herself, there is nothing she needs from Cheng Jinjiao, and no one can help her with this matter. She has only one solution, and that is time. Time can dilute everything, so let time dilute this matter. She still has 1 year to go back to school. By then, everyone will have forgotten this matter, and she will be safe. She could only place her hope on time, because there was nothing she could do. Like Ding Nana said, she is a waste. But what can she do? She cannot choose what kind of family she is born into, nor can she choose what kind of parents she has. The blame lies in the fact that her fate was not good. She was not reborn in a good pregnancy, and she failed to live in a rich family. If she was the child of a rich family, would Ding Nana still look down on her like this? Will he still humiliate her as a poor person? Won't. Nothing will happen. She looked at the ceiling quietly. It was white and clean without a trace of dust, but this world was dirty. As I watched, tears flowed out of my eyes for some reason and covered the entire pillow. Before she had time to feel sad, nausea surged through her body. She covered her mouth and went to the toilet to vomit, with tears streaming down her face. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Ju Yi. Chapter 45. I vomited in the toilet for several minutes before I stopped. I vomited out what I had eaten for lunch, and my stomach was empty. Her throat was very uncomfortable, the smell of stomach acid was not good, and her throat even burned a little. After washing herself, she looked at herself in the mirror. Less than half an hour later, she looked haggard again, her eyes were swollen and red, and she looked like she had cried. It didn't take long for your mood to feel better. Do you have 10 days? No, she thought she would be able to raise her baby with peace of mind and no worries, but now. She tried hard not to think about that post, let alone the comments below it, but the more she didn't think about it, the more those things kept popping up in her mind. The good mood suddenly plummeted, and even seeing the sun finally appeared, I couldn't be more interested. She walked out of the bathroom dejectedly, sat down by the bed, and saw the mobile phone on the bed. As soon as she saw it, those comments jumped out again. The tears that finally stopped could no longer be held back. She sniffed and looked up at the ceiling to stop the tears from falling. This still had some effect. Her tears did not fall anymore in the end, but just gathered in her eyes. After a few minutes, she controlled her emotions and felt that she could not go on like this. If she continued like this, she would cry herself to death. Being too depressed is not good for her health, and will also affect the child in her belly. The depression that just got better may reappear. In order to avoid this, Wei Yuxian must find something to do for herself to distract herself, otherwise her brain will always think of those things. After thinking about it, she decided to distract herself by reading. There happened to be an unfinished book in the room that she had taken from Fu Xuanyi's study. She sat down in front of the table and chair, picked up the book and continued reading. This was a famous novel. She had read it quite well before, and she had been looking forward to the subsequent plot, but now it seemed that it was just boring. She knew every word in it, but she couldn't stand the story connected together. It was caused by her mood, because she was in a bad mood and didn't have the mind or patience to read those dry words. Reading doesn't seem like a good way to divert your attention. A few minutes later, Wei Yuxian's book still stayed on that page, and her eyes also stayed on the third paragraph, her eyes blank and in a daze. Looking at these dense words, she just felt irritated and didn't want to read any more. After trying to force herself to watch for a while, Wei Yuxian found that she still couldn't stand it. Wei Yuxian gave up and slumped on the chair, not interested in doing anything. When you are in a bad mood, you feel unmotivated in anything you do, and you don't know what to do, but you still want to find something to do. This is what Wei Yuxian is like at this moment. If reading isn't an option, then playing with your phone is fine, as long as you can distract yourself. Thinking like this, Wei Yuxian stood up sadly, walked back to the bed and dug out her cell phone, then sat down on the chair and opened the video software. As soon as she entered, the system automatically pushed her favorite financial knowledge, but now she didn't want to see these, she wanted to read something relaxing. So, she opened the search box, entered the words funny videos and clicked search. Soon, a lot of funny videos popped up. Wei Yuxian clicked on the first one and started reading. The funny video is indeed quite funny. If Wei Yuxian was in a good mood, she would definitely laugh until her stomach hurts, but now, it has no effect. She even felt more irritated, so she quit the software and threw her phone on the desktop. She sighed and leaned her head back on the chair, taking in the beautiful weather outside. It's not easy to get a ray of warm sunshine in winter. It would be a pity not to go out for a walk in such nice weather. Why don't you go for a walk, relax, and see if you can relax a little bit? If she had an idea, she had to take action. She stood up without saying a word, put on thick clothes, and arranged all the cold-proof tools such as gloves, scarves, and hats. Winter here is no joke. In her hometown, winter is not that cold, but it is not possible in Kyoto. You must wrap up tightly when going out, so as not to let the cold take advantage of it. After getting dressed and fully prepared, she took her mobile phone and walked out of the room and came downstairs. Two nannies were chatting. When they saw her coming down, still wearing thick clothes, they came up to her. And Sun asked, "Madam, are you going out?" "Where are you going?" Wei Yuxian said, "It's too stuffy in the room. The weather is nice today. I'm going to go for a walk, I'm in the house." The two nannies quickly stood up and said, "Madam, please wait a moment. We will get dressed and go with you." Their task is to take good care of the madam. If the madam goes out, they must accompany her. Wei Yuxian was used to being followed every time she went out. She nodded and sat down on the sofa, waiting for them to get dressed. As soon as I sat down, a servant came up with cut fruits and said, "Madam, please eat some fruits." Wei Yuxian had just vomited for a while, and her stomach was empty. She just wanted to eat something to fill her stomach. She said thank you to the servant and started eating. It's cold, so the fruits are soaked in warm water. They're not too cold and the temperature is just right. After Wei Yuxian ate half of the fruit, the two nannies got dressed and walked out. She asked the servants not to take away the fruit and to continue eating when they came back from the walk. The servant said, "Madam, I will put the fruits in the incubator and bring them to you when you come back. By the time Madam comes back, the fruits will be cold." Wei Yuxian nodded in agreement and walked out. The two nannies were a little worried when they saw her eyes were red, but they didn't dare to ask more questions for fear of asking something they shouldn't. "Well, I don't know what's wrong with my wife. Her eyes are red when she wakes up. Why are she crying? The weather outside is really nice, the warm sunshine is shining on the body, making people want to turn into a cat and sleep on their stomach." Wei Yuxian's mind became more open-minded and she felt better. Looking at the winter scenery outside, she temporarily forgot about the post. Just pretend she doesn't exist. She's not in the school anyway, and she won't be there in the next year. No one will find her. And a year later, there have been more new things that have washed away this incident and faded out of people's memory. So Wei Yuxian, just don't worry about it, you will still be a good man after 1 year. You can still shine in college. About an hour later, Wei Yuxian was sweating a little, and the nanny promptly handed her a towel to wipe away her sweat. The towel was soft and thick, and it felt very comfortable to wipe on her face. She breathed in the fresh air outside, and there was no shortcoming except that it was a little colder. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Ju Yi. Chapter 46. The amount of exercise today was enough. No matter how many nannies she took, she wouldn't let her go. The servant drove her to pick her up and take her back to the villa. The Fu mansion is really big. After coming here for so long, the places she has visited are just the tip of the iceberg. If she really wants to see all the Fu mansion, she has to drive around. But Wei Yuxian never had this intention. In the past, she had to be busy with her studies. She went to school early every day and didn't come back until dinner time in the afternoon. After eating, she had to do homework, read books, and preview, so she didn't have much time to go shopping. But it's different now. She has free time. She will definitely be able to visit the Fu mansion in the future. Back in the villa, the sweat on Wei Yuxian's body subsided. The servant brought her uneaten fruit and she continued to eat. I looked at the time and saw that it was only after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There were still more than 2 hours before dinner. What should I do next? Suddenly, she wanted to go into the kitchen and see how the chefs made delicious dishes. After eating the fruit, she stood up decisively and walked towards the kitchen. Aunt Fu and the nanny saw this and hurriedly followed. The former asked, "Madam, where are you going?" "I'll go check out the kitchen." Aunt Fu and the nanny quickly stopped in front of her, looking like they were facing a formidable enemy. Wei Yuxian was confused and asked, "What's wrong?" Aunt Fu took a deep breath and said, "Madam, there is unprocessed food in the kitchen. You will feel uncomfortable if you smell those smells." When Aunt Fu said this, Wei Yuxian thought of this. She just thought of going to the kitchen to have a look, but she didn't expect this. Yes, she is very sensitive to smells now. She will sometimes vomit even processed food, let alone unprocessed food. She could only stop thinking about going into the kitchen, thinking of going in later when the pregnancy reaction was not so severe. Aunt Fu could see her boredom and asked, "Madam, why don't you go to the flower room and have a look? We have a flower room in our house. There are some expensive flowers in it, including flowers that are not in the season." Flower. Beautiful flowers. Wei Yuxian became interested and asked Aunt Fu to lead the way. She didn't know many flowers, but most girls couldn't refuse beautiful flowers. She also wanted to take this opportunity to get to know more flowers. In addition, the flowers that can appear in the Fu mansion are definitely not ordinary flowers, and they may not be seen outside. In this way, Wei Yuxian spent the entire afternoon in the fragrant flower room, getting to know many flowers, but she just couldn't remember them and turned around and forgot about them. In the evening, after Wei Yuxian adjusted her mood, although her mood was not completely improved, she was able to hide it from others. The others here specifically refer to Fu Xuanyi. After taking a shower at night, Wei Yuxian saw a familiar figure in the room, Fu Xuanyi. Almost every night at this time, Fu Xuanyi would come to her room, for no other reason than to apply pregnancy oil on her. At first, she thought it was Fu Xuanyi's whim, and it would fade away in a few days, but she didn't expect that he actually persisted. It seemed that he wanted to come every day in the future. For this reason, Wei Yuxian could only let him go. As long as he didn't smear her armpits and buttocks, it would be easy. Although her belly and thighs are shy, they are still acceptable. As for her armpits and buttocks, her answer from the beginning was absolutely no. "Actuan," she called out and walked over slowly. Fu Xuanyi watched her walk over step by step. Because she had just taken a shower, her skin became whiter and more tender, and more delicious. Yes, it's delicious, that's the right word. In Fu Xuanyi's eyes, Wei Yuxian at this moment was just a walking piece of meat that he wanted to hold onto for a full meal. The feeling of danger came again, a feeling of heat surged up in my body unconsciously, and my eyes became a little hotter. I wanted to eat people. But no, she is not in a good state now, and her mood cannot be overjoyed, she must be well taken care of. Such dangerous feelings have become more frequent recently, which makes Fu Xuanyi a little distressed. He seemed like a person who hadn't eaten meat for many years. Ever since he ate meat once, he couldn't forget the taste. The scene from that night came to mind again. She was so young and ignorant, looking at him with wet, deer-like eyes. Although he has no experience, men have a natural talent in this area, and they can learn by themselves without any experience. Suppressing the random thoughts in his mind, he focused on what he was going to do next. He got up and went into the bathroom to fill the water, took out the towel, sat on the edge of the bed, gently took off the black beads in his hands and placed them aside, then put his hands into the warm water and soaked them. Wei Yuxian consciously lay down on the bed, controlling her eyes not to look at the man, and looked up at the ceiling. After Fu Xuanyi warmed up her hands and took out the pregnancy oil, she lifted up her pajamas, revealing her slightly bulging belly. Fu Xuanyi looked at the white and tender belly. He saw that the belly was bulging little by little. What was pregnant in it was the flesh and blood of his Fu family, his flesh and blood. The person who gave birth was the woman he loved. His eyes couldn't help but become much gentler, and the murderous fierceness outside faded away. He put his hand on her belly lovingly and skillfully applied the pregnancy oil on it. Wei Yuxian felt the warmth of the big hand on her belly. The hand on her side clenched nervously, and she pursed her lips to look at Fu Xuanyi's face. The man's expression was very serious, as if he was dealing with a fragile treasure. His movements were gentle and comfortable to touch. Wei Yuxian had that illusion again, Fu Xuanyi was a good family man. What was even more outrageous was that she had the illusion that she and Fu Xuanyi had been living together for a long time, and they were an old couple who worked well together. God! How could she have such an idea? How dare she have such an idea? How could she be worthy of Master Xian? Even if she works hard for 10 lifetimes, she still won't be worthy of Master Xian. Is it because Fu Xuanyi's face was too soft at the moment that she had such an illusion? Yes, that must be the case. Just when she was distracted, Fu Xuanyi's words brought her back to her thoughts, in a bad mood today. Why are you crying? Aunt Fu reported to him her afternoon situation. Her eyes were red and swollen after taking a nap. Wei Yuxian had known for a long time that he would know about her situation, and she also expected that he might ask questions. She thought of the reason in advance and said, I vomited when I got up from nap. I felt uncomfortable, so I cried. There is nothing wrong with this reason. Pregnant people are emotionally unstable, and it is normal to cry when they suddenly feel uncomfortable. Fu Xuanyi did not doubt that he was there. He felt even more sorry for her in his heart, and his movements became even gentler. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Zhu Yi. Chapter 47. After smearing her belly and then her thighs, Wei Yuxian stared at the ceiling, trying her best to ignore the touch of those big hands, thinking that it would be over as soon as possible. Fu Xuanyi also wanted to end it quickly because he realized that something would happen if he stayed in the room any longer. So he sped up his movements, smeared it evenly on her thighs, entered the bathroom with warm water and a towel, and said after coming out, "You can do the rest yourself." There was a hoarse tone in his voice that was deeper than usual. Wei Yuxian didn't notice anything strange, and thought it was because Fu Xuanyi hadn't spoken for too long, so she said Fu Xuanyi left the room. Wei Yuxian breathed a sigh of relief, spread the rest evenly on herself, packed up the utensils, and lay on the bed, brewing sleepiness. She was really bored in the Fu mansion, and because of the post, she was not in the mood to do anything else, so she just wanted to go to bed early and kill some time. It's a pity that her thoughts were beautiful, but the reality was cruel. She turned off the lights, adjusted the heating to the most comfortable temperature, turned on the humidifier, and lay peacefully on the bed. She thought she would fall asleep soon, but no matter how she hinted that she would fall asleep quickly, she never fell asleep and her mind was very clear. Think about this for a while, and think about that for a while. After thinking about it, I thought of Fu Xuanyi. She felt that there was something wrong with Fu Xuanyi recently. What should I say? He had become a lot gentler. When he spoke, his tone was inexplicably less harsh. She didn't know if it was her imagination. In addition, Fu Xuanyi's various behaviors, those that are inconsistent with his identity, are also very questionable. Why on earth did he behave like this? Is it really out of curiosity or something else? Or was it taken away from her as she thought before? However, it is easier to get along with Fu Xuanyi, who is not so cold, and the pressure on her is not so great. She couldn't help but think to herself, it would be great if Fu Xuanyi could stay in this state forever, not a cold robot, nor a superior Xian master. If only, he was an ordinary person. Wei Yuxian didn't know why she had such strange thoughts, and she was thinking about some weird and unrealistic things in her mind. The more I think about it, the clearer my mind becomes, without feeling sleepy at all. She picked up her phone and looked at the time. It was 12:30, more than 3 hours had passed since she lay down, but she still didn't fall asleep. This made her a little anxious, and she would often be more anxious when she couldn't sleep. This feeling is very uncomfortable, and the nights when I can't sleep are also very difficult. No, I can't think about it anymore. I have to go to bed quickly and maintain a good sleep. I can't be confused, it's not good for my health. Wei Yuxian kept reciting the words "go to sleep" silently in her mind for more than 10 minutes, but it still had no effect at all. She changed the method again and changed to counting, starting from the beginning and counting to 100, and then repeated the cycle, but it still had no effect at all. Counting sheep seemed to be a good hypnotic method, so she changed to counting sheep again. She counted so many sheep that she lost count. This time, she finally fell asleep. but by that time, it was already 4 o'clock in the morning. The silent sky is as dark as ink, and even the moon rarely appears on winter nights. When Wei Yuxian woke up, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Because her sleep schedule was unstable during this period, Fu Xuanyi asked the servant not to disturb her rest when he came into her room to check the situation. So no one came to disturb her in the early morning, and she slept until 10 o'clock. The sleep time was sufficient, but the quality was not very good. She woke up several times during her sleep, which was very unstable. One night, she had several nightmares, one after another without stopping. The biggest nightmare was that she dreamed about the post on the campus forum. This matter became more and more troublesome, and even caused trouble to the school leaders, who expelled her from the school. How could she be expelled from the university she finally got into? So she woke up with a fright and could not sleep again. I picked up my phone and looked at the time. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. It was late. I couldn't go back to sleep. If I continued to sleep, I would become a useless person. She got up and washed up, but she was still not in a good mood. She was even in a worse mood because of the dream she had last night. She is a person who is easily affected by dreams. Although she knows that nothing in her dreams is true, she is still affected. For example, if she suddenly dislikes a person in a dream, then when she gets up and thinks of that person, she will subconsciously feel disgusted. This situation will last for 2 or 3 days, and then the original attitude towards that person will be restored. After washing, she went downstairs to have breakfast. When she returned to her room, she took out the laptop that the old lady had bought for her before and found a movie on the website to watch. The computer that the old lady bought for her was very good, and it was overkill in her hands. But she bought it, and if she didn't use it, it would just sit there and gather dust, so she might as well put it to use. After searching for a few minutes, she found a movie with good reviews and ratings. She clicked on it and watched it for more than 2 hours. By lunchtime, she had not finished watching it. After going down for lunch, I returned to my room and continued watching. She braved her sleepiness and forced herself to finish watching the movie. There were still about 10 minutes left before she could finish watching it. This movie is really funny. The characters in it are all successfully created and there are a lot of laughs. No wonder it is loved by many netizens. Wei Yuxian looked a little happy and forgot her worries for the time being. When the movie was about to end in a few minutes, she suddenly received a phone call. She picked up her phone and glanced at the caller, which showed Mom. In an instant, the smile on Wei Yuxian's face fell. She held her cell phone and hesitated whether to answer the call. The last time she had a phone call with her mother was when school started. At that time, the money on her bank card was transferred away, and she had no money on her, so she had to live on the street. What did your mother say at that time? My mother said that people like her were not worthy of studying. Even if she was admitted to university, she would not let herself study. Then she would let herself work in Kyoto to support herself, and transfer the money back later so that she could give money to her good brother and brother. Thinking of this, Wei Yuxian felt a surge of anger in her heart and stared at the caller. This time, why did my mother call? Wei Yuxian probably had an idea in her mind. It was probably because of money. After all, her daughter was not worthy of her concern. She only thinks of herself when it comes to money. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Ju Yi. Chapter 48. Just when Wei Yuxian was thinking, the movement on her phone disappeared and it became quiet for a while, but she knew that her mother would not give up. Sure enough, within 5 seconds, the phone rang again, and the caller displayed on it was still Mom. Wei Yuxian took a deep breath and felt that if she didn't answer the phone would keep ringing. It would be better to answer it earlier to clear her ears. She was no longer sleepy at the moment. She mustered up the courage to pause the movie. The room became quiet, picked up the phone, and pressed the answer button. She didn't even have time to say hello when her mother's abusive voice came over the phone. "Where did you die, you damn girl? I've been calling you for so long and you didn't answer the phone. Are you going to rebel if your wings get stiff?" Wei Yuxian pretended not to hear these words and did not explain why she took so long to answer the phone. Because it was unnecessary and her mother would not listen to the explanation. Instead, she would scold her again, so it was okay not to explain. She asked in a cold voice, "What's the matter?" She can remember her mother's transfer of her money for the rest of her life. In this life, she will never forgive, nor will she forgive everything she did to her, nor will she forgive all the members of that family, because in that family, apart from her, they are the only family. She, Wei Yuxian, is a complete outsider. In that home, she could not feel the presence of family affection. Instead, there was only endless abuse and oppression. She will never go back to that home in the future, and the people in that home are no longer her family. When Wei's mother heard her talking to her in such a tone, she became even more angry. In her mind, Wei Yuxian should be humble and unable to even breathe in front of her. Now she talks to him in such a tone, it's really outrageous. Wei's mother scolded loudly, "What kind of tone are you talking to? Is this the way you talk to me as a mother? Wei Yuxian, you are really rebelling. Who taught you to talk to me like this? Have you been in Kyoto for a long time? Oh my God, I feel like I'm flying into the sky. I'm telling you, don't even think about it in this life. You are just a piece of mud that can't stand up to the wall." Wei's mother continued to curse on the phone for several minutes, talking endlessly without giving Wei Yuxian a chance to speak. Of course, Wei Yuxian didn't want to speak and had nothing to say. A few minutes later, Wei's mother finally finished scolding her. She was extremely satisfied when she heard that Wei Yuxian did not dare to refute a word. Yes, that's how it should be. This is what Wei Yuxian, a loser, should do. Who gave her the right to refute her? She should have kept silent and never retaliate when hit or scolded. She spent so much money to raise her, how could she get this money-losing guy to go against her? Wei Yuxian listened to her curses in silence without missing a word. Listening to the same insults on the phone as before, her heart stung. Even after hearing them many, many times, she could not remain completely indifferent. She is a normal person with a heart made of flesh. How could she not be touched when she hears these insults to her? But she couldn't refute or talk back, not even a word, otherwise she would be greeted by even more vicious curses from her mother. The bad emotions came out again and spread throughout the body. The mood that finally got better fell into the abyss again. She clenched the hand on her side, resisted the thought of hanging up the phone, and forced herself to continue listening. After Wei's mother finished scolding, she finally started talking about business. She even took a sip of water to moisten her throat and said, "Where are your wages in the past few months? Come over here quickly. You have worked for so long and you have earned a lot money, right? You keep 400 or 500 for yourself to eat, and transfer the rest to me, do you hear me? Your brother and your brother don't have living expenses now. Please transfer the money to me quickly. If it's even less, you'll have something to look forward to." At the end of her sentence, she even threatened. Wei Yuxian gritted her teeth, her heart trembling a few times. Sure enough, she knew that her mother was calling to ask for money. She would not come to her for anything other than money. Counting the time, it has been almost 4 months since she came to Kyoto. Her mother didn't come to her in the past few months, probably because she didn't expect someone like her. Now that her brother and younger brother have no living expenses, they are asking her for money. She remembered herself. How sad, what a sad thing. They are all her children, how can their hearts be so biased? Boys live a life that is superior to others, while girls live a life that is worse than that of a pig or a dog. Would anyone really treat their child like this? Wei Yuxian felt very distressed, as painful as the day she found out that her money had been transferred away. These days, she was studying in school some time ago, and was raising a baby in the Fu mansion during this time. After paying the tuition, she had very little money left, and now, she doesn't have much money left. These are all the money she saved for herself to continue schooling after 1 year. Now the mother comes and asks for money. Where did she get the money to give her? So she said, "I have no money." The voice is small and lacks momentum. If you listen more carefully, you will find that there is a bit of trembling in the voice. She really has no money. She is very poor, very, very poor, so poor that she has to live in other people's homes. It is ridiculous to say that parents actually ask children who are still in school for money to pay for other children's living expenses. This is really a very ridiculous thing. Is a boy's living expenses so important? Do you have to give so much? Are you still not satisfied with being given thousands of dollars a month? And the same goes for her elder brother and younger brother. How can they use their own money so calmly? How can you look down upon yourself and see that you can't live a good life for a day? They are brothers and sisters. She is their family, not a servant. Will their conscience really not hurt? As soon as Wei's mother heard her words, the anger that had just subsided a little suddenly burst out again. What do you mean, no money? After staying in Kyoto for a few months, you told me that you had no money. Who did you lie to? You loser. How can you survive without money? I don't know where you will die. I see that your wings are really strong and you want to fly out. What do you mean you have no money? Any job in Kyoto would cost 7,000 to 8,000 yuan. You have been working for so long and you already have more than 20,000 yuan. Let me tell you, Wei Yuxian, if you don't transfer the money to me, just wait for me and see what I do to you. If you still want to keep more than 20,000 yuan, don't even think about it. Don't think that I can't do anything to you now that you're in Kyoto. Let me tell you, I'm your mother. I've walked more roads than you've ever eaten. I have plenty of ways to cure you. Don't believe it, you'll have something good to look at when the time comes. If you dare to keep the money for yourself, I will find a way to get you. Let's see who among us can defeat whom. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Zhu Yi. Chapter 49. Take a look, is this what a mother says to her child? This is not a relative at all, but an enemy. Wei Yuxian sometimes really doubts whether she is the biological child of her parents. Otherwise, why wouldn't she look like a human being in that home? But now is not the time to think about that. What I want to think about now is how to deal with my mother and solve this matter smoothly. Wei Yuxian was in a very low mood. She clenched her left hand tightly into a fist and made a mark in her palm. It hurt, but it kept her calm. In front of her mother, she has always been the weak one, because she grew up under the oppression of her mother, so she will be instinctively afraid when she sees her mother. She also wanted to overcome her fear of her mother, but she couldn't do it in a short time. She needed more time to overcome this fear. She stared at the computer in front of her. The screen stayed on a certain funny frame. An advertisement popped up in the middle of the screen to cover part of it, but this still did not affect the funniness of this frame. But at this time, Wei Yuxian's mood was not getting better at all. This scene formed a strong contrast with her at this time. Looking at this frame, she felt upset. She bit her lip, closed the computer, adjusted her mood, and said, "Mom, I really have no money, not even a penny." Wei's mother became even more angry. "You're a liar. You still want to scold you, Don't you? I don't have so much time to spend with you today. Your brothers are waiting for me to transfer the money. Please transfer the money quickly, come here. Don't waste my time. I've raised you so much, but I'm not even willing to give you any money. Are you going to be a white-eyed wolf? Don't forget who has supported you all these years. If it weren't for me, would you still be alive today? I don't know where it was buried. Wei Yuxian wanted to ask her at this moment, if you don't want to raise her, why did you give birth to her? You have to treat her like this after giving birth. Isn't it an obligation for parents to raise their children? Why did it become like this when it entered her mouth? It's like she's not their child. Yes, in the eyes of that family, she was indeed not a member of their family. Only their family of four was a real family, and she was just an outsider. Wei's mother was still talking. You don't have any money, so where do you spend your money? It's more than 20,000 yuan. You only eat a few hundred yuan a month, and you only spend 2,000 yuan at most yuan. What about the rest of the money? It's not because you want to keep it for yourself. Wei Yuxian, you lose money, you don't want to subsidize your family, you just want to enjoy yourself, right? I knew you were a rip-off guy. I have never raised a white-eyed wolf in my life. I didn't, Wei Yuxian retorted loudly. She didn't spend money recklessly. Every penny she spent was spent wisely. Even when eating, she didn't dare to eat too well. More than 20,000 yuan? She can earn more than 20,000 yuan in 3 or 4 months. She really wants to have such a good job. If she had more than 20,000 yuan, she would wake up laughing even in her sleep. But she didn't. The 20,000 yuan was just a figment of her mother's imagination and forced on her. I have no money. The 20,000 yuan was just a figment of your own imagination. I don't have a penny. You've been working there for so long without getting a penny. Why are you working for free? You're still lying to me now. You're a loser. Do you really not want to live anymore or what? You dare not even say what I say? Listen. Wei Yuxian bit her lower lip as hard as if she wanted to bite off the tender piece of meat. She was hesitating in her heart whether to tell her mother that she was going to college instead of looking for a job. From the bottom of her heart, she didn't want her mother to know that she went to school, but if she didn't tell her, her mother would think that she went to work, and if she worked, she would have money, and she would keep pestering her. What to do? What on earth should we do now? Do you want to say it? She was so confused that she couldn't speak for a moment, and she was in agony. At this time, she wished that someone could give her an idea, or help her solve the current problem, so that she would not be troubled by these problems anymore. But who will help her? Suddenly, an indifferent face appeared in her mind. That was Fu Xuanyi's face. That man who always had a cold face and spoke coldly, the aloof Master Xian of Kyoto. He can save himself and solve all the problems for himself. As long as he says a word, whether it is Ding Nana or her mother's matter, it can be solved smoothly. But no, he was Master Xian, a stern Buddhist from Kyoto. He was a busy man, so how could he care about such trivial matters like hers? How brave does she have to be able to convince Fu Xuanyi to help her solve these things? She is self-aware of her status in Fu Xuanyi's heart. She is able to live a good life today and is honored as madam by the Fu family's wife only because of the child in her belly. And she herself was nothing in Fu Xuanyi's heart. If she went to him for help, she would probably only get a cold shoulder from him. Therefore, she stopped humiliating herself. No one can help her, not even herself. You have to talk about going to college even if you don't talk about it. After thinking about this clearly, she said, I haven't gone to work these days, I have gone to school. After saying these words, she breathed a sigh of relief and finally said it. What? Wei's mother yelled over the phone, you lose money and go to school. What school? Where did you get the money to go to school? Didn't I say you are not allowed to go to school? What's the point of going to that shitty university besides wasting money? What kind of school did you go to? Why don't you come out and work for me quickly? Naturally, Wei Yuxian couldn't tell her where she got the money to go to school. She said, I am in school and have no money. If the university I went to is a waste of money, what about my brother? What does the university my brother went to mean? Her brother is in his junior year of college this year. He barely passed the second-level college entrance examination that year and went to a rubbish private second-level school. But his parents were so happy that they even served college drinks for his brother. When it was her turn, it became a shame. She obviously got into a much better university than her brother. She was admitted to the top university in the country. It's 11,000 times better than my brother's crappy private university. Moreover, my brother is not doing his job properly in college. He just plays games and flirts with girls every day. He doesn't focus on studying at all. Of course, his grades are not much better. But my parents still feel that my brother is their pride. There is also a younger brother, who is a sophomore in high school this year, and his grades are also extremely poor. He is studying in the worst high school in the county, and his parents also regard him as the apple of their eyes. After getting pregnant, the celibate Buddhist fiercely dotes on his beloved wife. Author, Zhu Yi. Chapter 50. Only she, Wei Yuxian, is a weed that no one wants. Her father doesn't love her, and no matter how good she is, her parents will pretend she didn't notice. It's absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of her brother, Mother Wei felt proud and said, how can you compare with your brother? Your brother got a bachelor's degree. How many people in our village can get a bachelor's degree? Either junior college or book major. No need to read it. Your brother is the pride of our old Wei family. What qualifications do you, a loser, have to compare with your brother? In the eyes of Wei's mother, the eldest son is the pride of their old Wei family. Guangzhou Yezu is counting on him. That's an undergraduate university. Few people in the village did better than her eldest son. The old Wei family has a literary star. Therefore, when Wei Da asked Wei's mother for money, Wei's mother would give it without hesitation. Give as much as you want. I was afraid that my son would be wronged because he would not have enough food or clothing to keep him warm at school. Wei Yuxian gritted her teeth and heard her belittle herself like this, saying, I really can't compare with my brother. She said it ironically. Anyway, in the eyes of her mother, everything she does is bad and wrong. Compared with her brothers, she is nothing. You've known this for a long time, right? She has known for so many years that she has always lived like this. Mother Wei laughed sarcastically and said, you really can't compare with your brother, you are just a loser. From now on, you will marry into other people's families and make money for others to spend. Wei Yuxian remained silent, wanting to hang up the phone, but didn't dare. Wei Yuxian, listen to me, get out of your crappy university right now. Don't read any crappy books to me. Come out quickly and make money for me, you hear me? What's the use of studying? It serves no purpose except wasting money. It's better to go out to work now and subsidize your family. It's time for you to repay your family for supporting you for so long. Wei's mother said this very calmly, and she didn't think there was anything wrong with asking Wei Yuxian to stop studying and work. In their village, a girl as old as Wei Yuxian would not get married and have children. I went out to work early to support my family. Still studying? What book to read? What a waste of money. The first thought in Wei Yuxian's mind was that it was impossible. It is impossible for her to give up school and go to work. She finally had the opportunity to go to school again, and she would never give up again. No matter who it is, not even my mother. Her first chance to go to school was ruined by her mother herself. The second time, she won't let anyone succeed. Even though she could make money immediately by working part-time, she didn't have a high degree of education, and the jobs she could do were all hard work. If she chose this path, she would never have a chance to get ahead in her life. But studying is different. After going to college, she can have a higher degree and more knowledge. Her chances of choosing a job will be much greater, and her chances of changing her destiny will be much greater. She said in a muffled voice, "I will not give up going to college. I say again that I have no money. Don't ask me for money again." She finally mustered up the courage to say such a long rejection, telling her mother very clearly her determination. "What? Say what you said again. Wei Yuxian, you are really going to rebel. You don't even listen to me." Wei Yuxian endured her grievances and said, "Mom, I'm your child too, why can't you look at me? I didn't ask you for money when I was studying, and it wouldn't add to your burden. Why didn't you let me go? Where am I studying? Why are you studying as a woman? What's the use? You won't get married in the future, and the money you earn will be spent on outsiders." Mother Wei said, "Wei Yuxian, don't bullshit me. Hurry up. Let me leave school and go out to make money." Wei Yuxian gritted her teeth and said firmly, "No, you can." Wei Yuxian. Are you humming disobedient? You are really capable of going out for a few days. What? Are you going to fly to the sky? You have to go out and make money for me. If you don't go, see if I can do it you. Wei's mother started a new round of insults, saying all the ugly and dirty words, without any mercy or family affection. After Wei Yuxian listened to a few words, she couldn't stand it anymore. Tears fell from her eyes. She felt more courageous. She took the phone off and hung up. In an instant, there were no more unpleasant insults in my ears, and the whole world became quiet. The world was quiet, but her heart couldn't be quiet. What was echoing in her mind was her mother's insult just now. Those sounds were like sharp knives piercing her heart. She just lay down on the chair and let her tears flow freely. It was as if he wanted to cry out all his grievances and pain. A few seconds later, the phone on the table rang again. Needless to say, Wei Yuxian also knew who it was. Who else could it be besides her mother? But now, she doesn't want to answer the phone at all, and she doesn't want to hear her insults at all. Then, don't answer it. Such a voice emerged in Wei Yuxian's heart. Anyway, she is in Kyoto now, far away from her hometown. What can her mother do to her? Anyway, his mother will not appear in front of him. Then, be brave and stop being bullied by your mother. She will never answer this call again. When she thought of her previous hard days and the opportunity to change her destiny after going to college, Wei Yuxian suddenly felt more courageous. She raised her head, her face covered with tears. She looked extremely embarrassed, but her eyes were firm. She picked up the phone, rejected her mother's call, and then quickly blocked the number. Let the mother no longer be able to dial her phone. Be ruthless. Then be ruthless to the end. She didn't believe it. She was so far away from Kyoto, what could her mother do to her? What will he do to her? Without the piercing ringtone, the world became quiet again. Wei Yuxian's tears still didn't stop. She threw the phone aside and rested her face on her arms, shedding tears silently. She felt so uncomfortable in her heart. A sad emotion enveloped her and could not be dissipated. She couldn't understand why these unfortunate things always happened around her. Who did she provoke whom? Why does everyone bully her? Could it be that she was a heinous villain in her previous life? Is that why you have to suffer like this in this life? The post-incident hasn't passed yet, she was already in a bad mood, and now her mother's incident has come up again. God really doesn't want her to live a good life.